Hey guys, thanks so much for popping in. Now, one thing that we could all possibly have in common, even as paper crafters, is that we have or have had a dad or a father figure in our lives. And whether it be a biological dad, your stepdad, grandfather, maybe even a brother or a very special friend, the point is that they have a very special place in your heart. Now, they need to be celebrated and thanked for all that they do and all that they have done. Yes, my Papercraft friends, it's coming up to Father's Day, which means that it's time to get creative. Now, we're not going to wait until the last minute and end up buying a store-bought card for Father's Day. No. What we're going to do is get our creative hands on. I'm going to show you how to create a Father's Day die-cut shaker card for that special male in your life. For those of you that are new here, my name is Lisa Walsh. Welcome to my channel. And if you like some card making inspiration in your life, consider subscribing, as I love to upload a new video every week. Now stick around to the end of the video, as I've got something special to share with you in regards to my own dad and why this Father's Day card is extremely special to me. Now, in saying that, let's get on with it. Now, to start with creating this Father's Day die cut shaker card, I use my MFT A2 stitch rectangle stack set 1 dies. That is such a mouthful. I try saying that 5 times fast. Anyway, I use the MFT rectangle dies to cut some Bristol smooth cardstock, which I put through my die cut machine. Now, I wanted to create a beach-like card, so I used my tumbled glass distress ink to ink blend the background for the sky, and then I ink blended with the antique linen distress inks to create the sand at the bottom of the background. I needed some palm trees. This was the main element. So I grabbed my lawn fawn palm tree dies, and then I die cut them out with my die cutting machine. Now, the cardstock colours that I used were all from Lawn Fawn. For the treetops, I used Noble Fir and Cilantro, and the tree trunks was Paper Bags, and the coconut was Chocolate Bar. So I decided that I wanted to distress them a little bit more so that they would stand out. So with the treetops, I used some Evergreen Bow Distress ink, just to give them a bit of a lift from the cardstock in the background. And I also used Vintage Photo Distress ink for the tree trunks. Once that was done, I needed to adhere the tree tops to the tree trunks, and I just used a little bit of wet glue for this. So I applied the glue to the tree tops and adhered those together. Now, originally I did actually die cut enough to create 4 palm trees, but you'll see later on in the video that I decided to use only just 3 of them. You know what I think is amazing is as paper crafters, when we purchase our new supplies, it's amazing how quickly they can get forgotten about after only using them once or so. Because the reason why I say that is because I absolutely love these lawn fawn palm trees, and I love the way that they turned out. And I bought them like 2 years ago, and I've only ever used them once on a different card ages ago. And this is the first time I've ever bought them out ever since. It's just crazy how things like that work out, don't you think? Okay, so now it's time to start the journey of die cutting the Father's Day title. This can test your patience, let me tell you. However, for the title, I use the Lawn Fawn Coles ABC dies. And of course, I had to position them all in place correctly to ensure that they were all in the right position. It was quite fiddly and took a bit of time, but I can assure you it's really worth it at the end of it. Now, I didn't do the most perfect job in the world, but you know, it was the first time that I actually used this type of technique, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. In all honesty, you really can't see the little defects of not getting all the letters positioned correctly, as perfectly as one would want. And I can't believe I just said defects. What I meant was imperfections, not defects. There's no defects on any card that we create. Just a few imperfections, which is perfect, right? Anyway, to help me align the dies correctly, I used my ruler because, little old me, I don't have a tea ruler yet, but I can guarantee you that the tea ruler is on my wish list. So I also use my stamping tool, the edge of the stamping tool, to help me align the ruler in the first place up against the edge there. And then I used my patience to grab each letter die to align them to where I wanted them. Eventually I realised that the dies had those little metal nodules on the bottom of them, so therefore they wouldn't align correctly because the bump on the die kept making the letter die stand up too far. So I clipped off the nodules with my wire cutters, and after that they seemed to align perfectly well. So next I applied some washi tape to the back of the dies just to hold them into position before I actually put them through the die cutting machine, because otherwise they can move, and that's the last thing you want. You want to keep them all aligned correctly and in place because, one, you've taken the time to do that, and secondly, you want them to be die cut correctly so it's not cutting those letters all over your background. So once you've put them through your die cutting machine, just gently take off the washi tape and also the letter inserts. And also be sure to keep the insides of the letters, like for the D and the A, because you'll need to apply those later. Next, I positioned the palm trees to exactly where I wanted them. And then I lined up the alpha dies so that I could then go to the next step and die cut out the word day. So next I grabbed some acetate, and you want to trim the acetate down so that it just overlaps the title that you've created with the alpha dies. And once that's been done, you can then apply some adhesive all the way around the title so that your shaker contents don't actually go any further than the title. And then take the adhesive backing off. Well, because I use double-sided tape, so it's up to you what you do. But I did remove the backing of the double-sided tape and then adhere the acetate to the adhesive. And once that is done, you can grab some foam tape and just put that foam tape around the acetate and also down the bottom of your background panel. Then all you need to do is grab some pattern paper that you like, and then just simply trim your pattern paper to size so that it does actually overlap the foam adhesive, so that it will actually provide a backing for your shaker card, so that when you actually fill the well with your shaker contents, they won't actually fall and slip out. I used my anti-static powder tool to actually coat the acetate and the sides of the foam adhesive to make sure that the contents of the shaker card wouldn't actually stick to either of them. Like, oh my gosh, Lisa, how many times can you say actually in just a few sentences? I wonder how many times I actually said the word actually. I'm going to go back and I'm going to count later on. Anyway, it's time to add your contents for the shaker cards. I used blue and silver sequins and I probably went overboard. Next, you need to apply the pattern paper to the backing of the foam adhesive. Obviously, you need to remove the backing so that it sticks to your pattern paper. Once you've adhered the pattern paper to the backing of your card, then all you need to do is just give it a good old shake and enjoy those little sequins or your contents having a nice little dance inside your card. Once they've finished doing their dancing, you just grab some glue, whether it's wet glue or dry adhesive, add it to the back of your shaker, and then you just need to adhere it to your card base. So just to get off track just a little bit, I've just noticed that the video is playing back to me in a bit of a weird state at the moment. I don't know whether it's my computer, I don't know if it's the software, I've got no idea, and I've got no idea what it's going to behave like once I actually upload it to YouTube. So my apologies if it's not 100%. Just remember, I'm still trying to learn all this YouTube stuff and all the editing, and oh my gosh, there's so much to learn. So I'm still got my L plates on, peoples. So please excuse me if my video isn't 100%. I promise you I'm working on getting better. So anyway, back to the card. Next, I decided to heat and emboss my happy sentiment from the Lawn Fawn Year 2 stamp set and Ranger White embossing powder, and I heat set that with my heat tool. To ensure that the palm trees were aligned at the bottom of the card correctly, I decided to snip off the bottom of the tree trunks, and then I just gave it a once over on the bottom with some vintage photo distress ink. So this is where it starts to get exciting, peoples, because now the card is starting to come into life. To create that little bit of life on the card, I'm adding the tree tops to the tree trunks with a little bit of wet glue, and then I adhere the trees to the actual card. Now I'm using a combination of wet glue and also some foam tabs on the back of the top of the trees. It just gives them a little bit more dimension. It helps them pop from the card. It looks really awesome in real life. I mean, check out the little baby palm tree in the middle. Now, why do I find him so adorable, for goodness sake? It's just a little palm tree. See, this is what I love about card making. You go from a complete blank card and all you do is add on elements to the card one by one, and it just brings a blank piece of paper to life. I just love it. I just love it. Are you behind me, guys? You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? I just think that my family reckons I'm crazy with how passionate I am about card making and creating. They just don't understand me at all. Talking about family, I did mention at the beginning of this video that I was going to tell you a bit more about this card and what it means to me. But wait. Before I do that, I've got to talk about this card. So I don't know if you realised, I'm actually just popping in the insides of the letters to the card. It was quite tedious and quite annoying and frustrating, to tell you the truth, but I got there. But at the end of the day, this card needed a little bit of sunshine. What's palm trees without sunshine? It definitely isn't an island without sunshine. So I used my Lawn Fawn Sun and Moon dies with the Lawn Fawn No. 2 pencils cardstock from Lawn Fawn. And then I ink distressed it with mustard seed distress ink. What I did do was, just so I can tell you the rest of my story, I decided to line up the MFT rectangle dies so that I could actually have the stitch effect alongside it and cut it out with my die cut machine. And then I actually adhered it to the card. So let me just tell you this story, and then I'll get back to the card, okay? So anyway, just to give you a little bit of background about me, I was extremely lucky to have two dads in my life. I had my biological dad, whom I absolutely love dearly. But since I emigrated to Australia from the UK about just over 30 years ago, I've only seen him a few times since. Then there's my stepdad, who actually got my mum and my brother and myself out here to Australia. But unfortunately, he passed away very suddenly due to a sudden health issue. However, I did have him in my life for 20 years and he meant the world to me. He meant the world to me. So this card I created for him, and although obviously I can't give it to him, I know in my heart that he would have actually really loved this card, because the great thing was he was a creative as well at heart. So create a Father's Day card anyway, because dads are to be celebrated and thanks to be passed on to them one way or another, whether they are there to receive the card or not. So anyway, back to the card. I don't know whether you noticed or not, but my sun got a little bit crumpled with the washi tape that I used and with it having to go through the die cut machine. So it came out a bit crumpled and I decided to try and fix it with some, I think it's yes. And I decided to fix it with some Stardust stickles, which I have not used in probably over a year, I would say. It's amazing. Like I said, you buy all these supplies and you put them away and they just don't get used again for a while. They go out of trend. See, that's what happens. Anyway, next I adhered the coconuts to the palm trees. And then after this, look at these little tiny Look at the little tiny coconuts. I mean, come on. Aren't they adorable? And they just really make the tree come to life, don't they? So after the coconuts were adhered, I then used my, wait for it, if you've been watching my videos, I love my Uniball Signo white pen. Now, if you want to know how I feel about my Uniball Signo white pen and what I honestly truly think about it, you really need to watch my other videos. So as you can see, I'm now just adding some highlights and a few more details to those little palm trees. And did you know that the Coles ABC dies have been used on a few of my cards before this video? Probably not. So just to let you know that if you are thinking about actually going ahead and getting the Coles ABC dies for yourself from Lawn Fawn, check out those videos so you can have a look to see what else you can do with them. Just give you a few other ideas. I'll probably link to at least one of those videos on my end screen for you. See, I'm just so thoughtful. And just to prove how thoughtful I am of my viewers, I've created a few playlists on my YouTube channel. And one of them is actually a playlist for creating cards with your paper scraps. So check it out and I'll link to it in the description below, along with all the supplies and products I use to create this card. Oh, that's right. The other playlist is actually a Father's Day card playlist. I've created a few now, so I thought I'd better put them in a nice special place for you to watch one after the other. Now seriously, my Papercraft friends, I truly hope you enjoyed my video. It took me a long time to create, but I totally enjoyed it. I hope you like my cards. Do you like my shaker card? It's awesome, hey. I hope you give it a go. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and honestly, if you haven't subscribed already, I would love for you to be part of my little YouTube community. So become a friend, become a mate, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and it will alert you the next time that a new video becomes available. Because do you like interactive cards? Because let me tell you a secret, that's what's coming next. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, and please come back soon. I'd love to see your comments and see that you've been around. Thanks so much. Bye. Back again, I forgot to tell you. If you click on one of the videos up above, we can continue talking there. Bye. See ya.